Hello everyone, welcome to a new vlog. This is going to be a little bit different because it will be a story. I will tell it in words and I will show you some footage from the workshop that took place this last weekend. We had some amazing time photographing inside some really huge and beautiful caves, and I want to explain a little bit the thought process behind some photos, and I also want to speak about how the day evolved. Hello everyone, my name is Toma. I'm a full-time landscape photographer, and this channel is all about landscape and travel photography. So if you're interested in this kind of topics, you can subscribe, watch this video, comment below, share this channel with your friends. You can also support me by buying one of my editing courses. The link is in the description of this video. Also, you can join one of my workshops. I do workshops in Tuscany, in the Dolomites, in Norway, very soon in Faroe Island, and also I'm a really huge fan of forest photography, and for those of you that really enjoy my forest photos and want to join a workshop about that, there will be some details for, of course, next year. I want to do a workshop on forest photography. So now let's get back to the video. As I told you, it's gonna be a story about how I planned this workshop. It was held in Romania. It's an area that it's called Padiș, and it's very famous for a system of caves, some really huge and beautiful caves. And one of the caves also has some holes in it, so the light gets in. Now the day starts really early. It's something that it's an absolute must if you're a landscape photographer. If you want to catch the sunrise, you have to be really early at the sunrise spot. Now, when I arrived there, it was raining, really hard raining. The entire day was pouring. Now, this was a really good thing because I knew for sure the next day, if it's going to be a sunrise, then we're going to have fog in the valley. And this is exactly what happened. We reached the sunrise spot about an hour before the sunrise happened, and this allowed us to also capture the blue hour, that feeling of mist, of let's say mystery, of ghostly landscapes. I think this is one of the best way in which you can capture a valley of fog, and that is the moment between the light actually appears and then the moment when the sunrise actually happens and the light hits the fog. Now, our misfortune was that even though we had fog in the valley, the sun stood behind some clouds, and because of that, the moment when the sun actually was visible and the light hit the fog was gone. So the worm has built up slowly and the fog kind of dissipate, and we didn't have any fog, any true huge chunks of fog in the sunrise light. But that's okay. I think it worked really well with photographing the trees in these silhouettes, these dark silhouettes, and then the fog between them. I think the photos really look great, and also we had a chance to photograph some fog with the light of the sun on it. We didn't actually see the light of the sun exactly when the sun rised. That was the only minus. Now, on our way back to the chalet where we're staying, another very interesting and beautiful thing happened. In the forest, the sun was warming up the mist, and it was like the forest was boiling. There was sun rays coming through the trees, and also some steam and mist rising from the trunks of the trees. I think it was one of the most interesting and beautiful moments that you can see in the forest. Unfortunately, this is not an easy moment to photograph because you're constantly photographing into the sun. If you want to see those if you want to see those light rays, you have to kind of stay into the sun. Of course, you don't look exactly into the sun, you look kind of from sideways, but either way you look into the sun, and this means you'll have really dark and contrasty silhouettes in trees. After this came breakfast. We took a little nap. This is something that I think is very important to realize, that you do the sunrise, then you rest for a little bit, and then you go to the second part of the day. Now, the second part was a trip to a very spectacular cave system, which is called the Strongholds of Ponor in translation. Basically, you are hiking on the edge of some really sheer drop cliffs. The hike starts in the forest, and then there are two kind of like round edges of towers that are hollow inside, and inside there you can get to one of these places, but our main goal were the caves under these two places. Anyway, this is a very spectacular place even to hike, and the landscape, it's absolutely incredible. It's breathtaking. It can make your feet tremble a little bit if you're not accustomed to heights. So and then there's a really steep decline to the cave that is assisted by chains or by cables. So it's not for everybody going on this workshop. Now, we entered the cave. We didn't try to go through the cave and exit on the other side. That would have been a little bit dangerous. But we stayed at the entrance of the cave, and we took advantage on the light that was visible from the other side of the cave. And I think that was a really big plus, because in this way you have a sense of depth, and you realize that this cave is really huge. It's not, I don't think I've managed to capture the entire hugeness of the cave, but I tried to create this photo with me in it. And I used, of course, a really powerful source of light to my back, and then my headlamp was also on. So I really wanted to create something like a ghostly feature, or to kind of use the light to enveil me, and this was kind of the idea. And after that, while we were hiking and we were rotating around this system of caves, I was wondering if I'm missing something. And the thing that I think I missed, I was missing on the trips before in that location, was actually capturing the sense of hugeness and expressing in the photo how big this place is. Now, I really tried positioning myself in different locations inside a photo to actually give this impression and give this idea of how big the place is. And until I realized that I also need to make myself small in the photo and go further away, that will be the moment when I will be closer to the actual entrance of the cave, and that will be also the moment when you'll realize how really big this place really is. I think this was a really important step in establishing proportions, and this is something I have to remember often. And when I will do landscapes, I think I will introduce myself, I think, because oftentimes I'm by myself, but I will introduce myself in the photos just to be able to express a better sense of hugeness. Now, the second day it was dedicated to going in the second cave, the cave that had holes in on the ceiling, and the light went in. And again, I tried to do the simplest thing, me positioned in a way that gives proportion at the entrance of the cave, inside the cave. Now, the biggest achievement, it's a photo that the idea came to me while I was going up over a boulder using chains to climb it. And at that moment, I was having my headlamp on, and for a moment, it struck that I can do an exposure for the entire place, and then I can add myself and use the headlamp to illuminate the wall, and then you'll actually see only a silhouette of me, and that I think would be enough. And this idea came to me by watching the paintings of Rembrandt. He is a painter that can have a subject in a complete shadow, and yet that subject can tell so much. So I really thought about it, and I tried to kind of tell a story, kind of show you the place that I was in and the action that I was doing. And I tried different ways of bringing light to this scene, including having light directly on me, but it didn't have the mystery. I mean, this way you can tell the story for yourself. You can envision it by yourself. Now, this was the story of this workshop. I don't know if you enjoyed the story, if you learned something from it. If you did, if you like it, just post a comment below. And thanks for watching. Thanks for being a subscriber or thinking about subscribing. And bye bye.